Yeah, I see the title, man. Let's get to it.
One of the worst NBA narratives I've come to despise over the years is the overall notion of players' total stats and longevity in large part determine how great they actually were. And the main group pushing this agenda is LeBron James fans and people like Nick Wright. And these guys are obsessed with longevity numbers and total stats. And what these guys truly believe is someone's career totals. That, in essence, makes them the greatest player of all time and greater than someone who definitively had a higher peak.
I don't think they. I don't, excuse me. I don't think they truly believe that that's could bring a player above all the other great players just for that sole reason. I don't think they truly believe that. I think that's just sort of, you know what I'm saying, what they have to push, because there's no way they actually believe that. They have to understand how championships, accolades, accomplishments affects your GOAT standard, your GOAT status, I guess you could say, They understand that, bro. I don't think they...
And I think the latest proof of longevity stats being flawed is the fact DeMar DeRozan soon is going to pass Larry Bird in all-time points.
Nah, yeah. See, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't, like, come on, bro. DeMar DeRozan passing Larry Bird. Come on, bro. You can't just go off that. You're saying that's a great accomplishment, though. It's a great accomplishment. It shows his longevity. He's a great, you know what I'm saying? He was pretty good for a very long time. But that's why we use other things in the GOAT criteria. You can't just use one thing. It always has to be a combination of everything. The skills, the talent, the accomplishments, the championships. You know what I'm saying? The longevity. The stats, the eye test. Everything. It gotta be everything, bro.
Even now is a great player, all-star caliber. But if you think DeMar DeRozan actually was a better scorer than Larry Bird, you're sorely mistaken. And according to LeBron James fans, using their logic, DeMar actually was the better scorer. As in a couple of games, he's going to pass Larry Bird in total points on 500 less shots. Again, using total stats longevity numbers, DeMar DeRozan is the better overall scorer. But rational NBA fans, smart NBA fans know those stats are highly...
That argument was never one of mine. I never, you could never tell me that LeBron James is a better scorer than Michael Jordan because he scored more points than him in total. I always knew that, like that was never... That argument is made, I feel like, in bad faith. I feel like, that argument is definitely made in bad faith.
And understand how good a player was, how great a player was,
or they just don't know.
And their peak, as those numbers are what actually matters. As looking at peak Bird, from 85 to 88, Larry averaged...
I wouldn't say the other numbers don't matter, though. Because it definitely does. You know what I'm saying? That you can't say it don't matter. You know what I'm saying? It matters to an extent. You know what I'm saying? You got to put the context in it, But it does matter a little bit.
8.1 points, 9.7 boards, 6.8 assists on 52, 41, and 90 splits. Compared to peak DeMar, Larry outclasses him in every single category. And even as a scorer, Larry Bird, he peaked higher and was the better overall scorer. As an 88, he averaged 29.9 points, 87, 28.1, 85, 28.7. Compared to DeMar DeRozan, who not once in his career cracked 28 points per game. And what you'll hear from this crowd who promotes total stats is that, well, DeMar scored more points taking less shots. If that's your go-to argument, you miss the entire point of evaluating a player's peak and their prime and how good they were at their best. And my overall problem with the LeBron James crowd, the Nick Wright crowd, who loves these total stats, they don't apply it to every player or equally across the board. Primarily, it's only for LeBron versus Jordan. And why they do this is if you compare total stats across the board for every player, it becomes quite ridiculous and their logic is exposed pretty easily. As looking at total stat numbers, John Stockton actually was a better overall point guard than Magic. Of course, not true. Look at someone like Dwayne Wade.
He got the all-time leading assists.
Total stats are better than Larry Legend.
The logic.
Is Wade a great player? Of course he was. But he's not Larry Bird. And worst of all, Karl Malone, his longevity and total stats are better than Jordan. Look, while longevity is great and highly important,
But it's like some people, you explain this to them, and they'll still be like, nah, I don't, they'll still just, it'll go totally over their head and they'll just not even understand it. But it's
impressive, total stats really should only be used for milestones and NBA records. As in comparing players, looking at who was the best, total stats really don't even paint half the picture. My overall point is,
I agree with that. It's like 10%. Like, longevity is like 5 to 10%. Maybe 15 if you're lucky. If you're lucky.
pretty simple. The misleading nature of total stats and longevity is pretty rampant in the NBA community. And looking back at Larry Bird, as someone who watches basketball every single night, watches multiple games, seeing some of the guys in this league putting up absurd stats, it really makes you wonder how some fans think Bird couldn't play in today's NBA. I mean, look at today's Boston team. Fans clown Jaylen Brown up and down for having no left hand. But already this year, he's on pace once again to average
When that had that problem with Bird, or you did have that problem with Bird, I should say, my fault. How the whole game scoring left-handed. You know what I'm
25 plus
saying?
points. And last year,
that was crazy, though.
averaged 27 and made second team All-NBA. If Jalen's doing that with no left hand, apparently being a garbage player, what would Larry Bird do in this era? And back in 2017, one thing that really stuck with me was the debate between LeBron James and Draymond. And both these players agreed. There are players in the NBA today who do not know how to play basketball. I'll repeat that. LeBron James and Draymond said there are players in the league who, quote, don't know how to play basketball.
I think he's really talking about as in like they just can't get into a good flow of the game. Like when certain players are on the court, it's just bad ball movement. It's bad basketball. People are not moving around. You're just staying in one spot. I think that's what they're talking about more so. But I ain't really see the clip, so I don't know. You want to see?
Those guys just being raw athletes, they can jump, run, or are simply tall. While the overall talent of basketball has gotten better progressively, I would argue the IQ and fundamentals have suffered drastically. And guys who come in from Europe with the fundamental skills a great base, nowadays they're dominating the American players who are more so athletes. That's why someone like Jokic can average 28, 14, and 6 and not have a 10-inch vertical. Or Luka Doncic, who's slightly more athletic, can drop 40 at the drop of a hat. Because those guys are fundamentally sound and not just pure athletes who dominate in that way. And look, I kinda am generalizing right here, as there are a lot of American-born players who have great fundamental skills and were taught how to play basketball. And most of those guys who are highly skilled, even the 30-plus guys, still dominate in today's NBA. Because in my view, a lot of the younger players rather jump high, be fast, than actually fundamentally sound.
Facts.
And one last thing I do want to kind of rant about is the overall crowd in the NBA.
A lot of the younger generation really looking for that highlight play. Them highlights, they're not really looking to play good basketball. They're not really looking to make the right play, Shit like that.
His championships don't matter, and they're purely a team accomplishment. Now, just like total stats, that logic never goes the full distance. As basketball, of course, is a team sport, and every stat and accolade is affected by your teammates. If you take that logic 2 steps further, realistically, things like assist totals, being the assist leader, actually shouldn't really matter, because assists are dependent on your teammates. The same thing goes with scoring, breaking all-time scoring record. Really, it's a team accomplishment, but in a basketball court, it's not 1v5. And your teammates most nights can impact the spacing, how tough the defense plays, and how much you get double-teamed on the court. Of course, I'm being sarcastic and hyperbolic, but I hope the overall
I feel your logic.
When you say things like championships don't matter, you gotta go the distance with that argument and think it through. Same with total stats and longevity. You can't apply it to just one player versus another. If you're gonna use that logic, apply it to everyone. But why they don't do that is if they do, their logic falls apart seamlessly. And again, for these fans like a Nick Wright, There's no argument off limits, no narrative too absurd not to push their agenda.
Oh, bro. We gotta get this through our minds, bro. It's not, well, I'm not gonna say it's not. I just feel like, bro, it gotta be some type of, somebody calling the shots. There gotta be somebody calling the shots that's making them say all this dumb shit, you know? That's all it is. That's the end of this one, though, y'all. Turn on post notifications, my fault. I was getting a text message distracting me, so I probably lost focus and shit. But if you enjoyed, click on the last reaction. I think I already said that. Turn on post notifications, like the video, comment, subscribe. I'm out of here, man.